Hi, my name's Simon Munslow. I'm a retired solicitor. I practiced law for 39 years and I have a particular interest in firearms law. And I'm going to get you to convince yourself that the official narrative in respect to Port Arthur, that is that Martin Bryant confessed to the murder of 35 people and wounding 23 others, is complete and utter bollocks. Bryant's confession to police was published by WikiLeaks, and curiously it begins by Martin Bryant raising the question of where his lawyer was. He was reassured by police that his lawyer had been told, and the interview proceeded on that basis. That an interview was conducted with a man who had an IQ of only 66, who had been subjected to a guardianship order by the Tasmanian Supreme Court, without a solicitor or at the very least a responsible adult being present, is something that I find curious, to say the least. What is even more curious is the complete and utter nonsense that Bryant told in his interview. Let me elaborate. He advised that his only experience with firearms was with an air gun as a boy, and that he had fired 20 to 30 rounds out of the AR-10 and 20 out of the AR-15. The AR-10 was not used at Port Arthur, but it's very similar to the AR-15 in terms of handling dynamics. But as a person who used to own an AR-10, that kind of round count is not going to be anything like enough to give you any sense of muscle memory in using the firearm. But it gets worse. He also said he did the shooting while firing the gun from his left hip, which would involve the gun being held in much the same way as a rocker would hold an electric guitar, and in which it would not be aimed. And he advised that he didn't do any practice shooting the firearm that way. Now, there is a reason why shooting from the hip is a metaphor for loose and unreliable speech. If you get hold of one of these, it's a child's Nerf gun. This one's a Nerf Fortnite SMG-E, or get the AR-L model, or any other semi-automatic version of a Nerf gun that has a similar grip to barrel angle of 25 degrees, it can be used for this experiment. That angle's the same as an Armalite rifle, and it enables this gun to be used as a safe stand-in for an Armalite rifle. And what I'd like you to do is to blue tack a number of paper plates around the room at distances of between 3 and say 10 meters or paces. Now, holding this this gun on your hip, start trying to shoot the paper plates. You won't hit many at all, and I think you can confidently therefore call myth busted. Now, many of you are probably saying at this point, but Martin Bryant pleaded guilty. Yes, he did. But did you know that in the United States, 18% of people exonerated of wrongdoing following a matter going to court also pleaded guilty? There are a wide range of reasons other than guilt that lead to people pleading guilty, and I had a bit of an aha moment in respect to this matter while watching a Wasp Files episode the other night on YouTube. It contained an interview with a former prison officer from Risdon Prison. He advised that Bryant had been tortured, and the torture had involved handcuffing him to a wheelchair and wheeling him under a shower and playing hot water upon his burns. He reported that Bryant's screams could be heard around the complex. He then proceeded to describe a number of other means by which Bryant was tortured. I've interviewed thousands of people over the course of my career, and I must say I considered the man's interview to be highly credible. This matter warrants further inspection, and I believe that the matter warrants a judicial inquiry. Now, for the record, I do not believe that the official narrative in respect to Port Arthur makes sense, but I have a strong suspicion that Bryant was involved in some lesser capacity. Because there must have been some discussion between he and this other party, it means that Martin Bryant would have been involved in a conspiracy. So yes, on that level, I'm a conspiracy theorist. However, I do not believe that the Port Arthur Massacre was in any respect a black op or a false flag operation conducted by the Australian government. However, I am concerned that steps taken by the Tasmanian government to perhaps protect their reputation involving this matter by suppressing transparency may give rise to and feed that kind of narrative. Thank you.